Did you know that recruiter typically spends only 8 seconds looking at your CV? Continue watching this video to find out how to create that right impression in just a few seconds. Also, today I will highlight specific points in the CV for the cabin crew position. My name is Yulia and I have been working in the aviation industry for 5 years. I have successfully passed the interview from my first attempt to 3 international airlines. So if you need additional help with preparation for the interview, you could always book consultation with me by following the link in the description below. After I was made redundant from Emirates in 2020, I stayed in Dubai and I was working as recruiter. And sometimes I used to receive over 100 applications for only one job opening. If you're applying for a job online, normally it's CV that influences the recruiter's decision to call the candidate and continue the process, or to reject his application. This leads me to tip number 1. Take your time to build your CV if you are just starting looking for a job. If you already found great opportunity, some recruiters advise you to apply as soon as possible, but with poor quality CV, you're risking not to get the job. So take at least one evening to write your CV. Better even 2, because the next day you might get new, fresh ideas. Tip number 2 would be to keep your CV short. Remember that you're competing with hundreds of other applicants and the recruiter wants to see all the key points in the first couple of seconds. And if your CV is 10 pages long, then the important information might be lost among the unnecessary details. Ideally, your CV should fit on 1, maximum 2 pages. I will tell you what exactly you should include in your CV later. However, what if cover letter and portfolio is required from you? I strongly advise you against including your cover letter and portfolio in your CV. They should be created as a separate file and provided upon request. If you are applying for a job through a website, more likely you will be given the opportunity to upload additional files. And if you are applying via email, you can use the cover letter as the main body of the email, while the CV should be attached as a separate file. Also, the link to a portfolio, if it is required from you, could be included in the CV itself. Tip number 4, by the way, which is being neglected quite often, is the file names. Please don't use a set of random digits and letters. The file should be named correctly, including your last name. This will simplify the navigation for the recruiters in case they want to look for your file again. And another tip about files, don't include dozens of random files if you don't have to. Sometimes I saw applications from candidates that included a lot of additional photos and documents, and they're also named in a random manner, and I had to search for a CV among them. I know that many recruiters decide not to waste their time on this, so keep that in mind. Tip number 5 is the grammar in the CV. It is strongly advisable to check the spelling of the words if you are in doubt. Also, only professional terminology should be used. Leave the slang words and emojis aside. Therefore, I previously recommended that you double-check everything the next day, because mistakes happen and this is normal, but it's better to avoid mistakes in the CV. Tip number 6 is the format of the file itself. It is strongly advisable to build your CV in Microsoft Word and save it in a PDF format. There are many free templates on the internet that you could use, just pick the neutral design and color. Especially it is applicable to a CV for a cabin crew position. Now let's see how to build the CV and which information to include by using an example. Let's talk about font and its color first. As I said, try to avoid bright colors. Black color would be the best. The same applies to font style. Just use one style, don't experiment here. In Microsoft Word, you could highlight the information using bold, italic or underline. These features are more than enough to break down your CV into blocks. Now let's proceed to the CV header and I will start with a photo. Here the opinion of recruiters is different. Some advise adding the photo, while others don't. But if you're applying for a job in UAE, it is strongly advisable to have a picture in your CV. And if you're applying for a cabin crew position, you have to have a picture with a smile. I have a video about pictures for cabin crew application, so check it out for reference. Then goes information about yourself and your contact details. Specifically for UAE companies, I strongly advise you to include your full name, nationality, country of residence, date of birth, and marital status. Here you can also add professional summary or objective. Describe yourself and your skills in 2-3 sentences. Remember to tailor this section to match the specific job you're applying for. Your contact information must include your phone number and email address. And if you wish, you can add the link to your LinkedIn profile. Moving on to your work experience. This is a very important part of the CV, and more likely recruiters will check this section first. Your work experience must be listed in chronological order, starting with most recent job. Be sure to include the start date and the last day of your employment, as well as the name of the company, its location, and your current position. The next step would be to describe your job responsibilities. Now here it's very important not to copy anything from job description. You need to describe everything with your own words. 3 to 5 bullet points would be more than enough. If you had any achievements, it would be a good practice to include them as well. For example, Employee of the Month award. But what if you are a fresher and you have no work experience? A lot of cabin crew candidates ask this question. Well, you probably did an internship somewhere or participated in the volunteering projects while you're studying, right? This is definitely worth mentioning because airlines are very focused on your ability to work in a team and with people from different nationalities. For airlines, you need to have at least 1 year of customer service experience, so internships and volunteering projects could count as one if you used to work with customers. And what if you don't have any experience at all? To lie or not to lie? I will refrain from advising you anything on this matter, but I could say that lies could be easily spotted during the interview. So if you decide to lie, make sure that you believe in your story and be ready to demonstrate the basic skills that the job requires. Next, you should include your education in the same chronological order as your work experience. You must specify the dates of the study, the name of the educational institution, and your specialty. You could also include courses if they're relevant to the position you're applying for. And finally, the last part is skills. List down your key skills relevant to the desired position. Include both hard skills, for example, software proficiency, and soft skills, for example, leadership and communication. What you should not include in the CV. In my opinion, you should not overcrowd your CV with irrelevant experience and additional information. For example, your parents' names or passport data, or even your hobbies. If you feel like your CV is lacking information, then elaborate more on your soft skills. For example, adaptability to shift schedule or excellent problem-solving skills, etc. Please let me know if this information was helpful. If you'd like to get personalized feedback from me on your CV, you could always book a consultation following the link in the description below. And I will see you very soon. Good luck!